Hello everyone, welcome back to ALifeLearned. Today I just have a quick little advice vlog, I guess, out of a request from my lovely friend on YouTube, Angie. We were chatting about our cameras and I started mentioning some camera maintenance things that she said she hadn't heard of. And so I thought I would start this by advising everyone to read your manuals. I know you often don't think to and you're like, oh, I've been using digital cameras for this long, don't bother. But it's always a good idea to at least read the first few pages. They usually have warnings and important information you'll want to know. And I've really found lately that when you read the labels on things, even just simple things like food, you learn how to maintain them better, keep them fresher and stuff. And so in terms of my camera, as you can see, I have a nice Canon. When I got this camera, I spent a lot of money on it, a lot of money that I don't really have. So I wanted to make sure to treat it like gold when I got it. And thusly, I read the instructions. And in the instructions, which I'll flash up on the page, you can see in the first few pages, I think it's before even the index, it'll say a few tips about how to maintain the battery. And I actually just learned something rereading this because I forgot, but one of the main things was a concept I've heard referred to as trickle charge, which is the battery slowly letting out into the camera when it's not being used. You'll notice when you go to put your battery in your camera that, well, at least with Canons, you'll put it in and then it will flash a red light. See that? Yeah. So that's like confirmation, yes, there's a battery in here, we got the charge. And so obviously if it makes that acknowledgement, that must mean that it's somehow the charge is going through the camera. So in that way, it basically says in the instructions there that it is not healthy to leave the battery in the camera when you're not using it, like for extended periods of time, because that trickle charge will slowly wear on the electronics of the camera. So just a really good tip for anyone who has, even just like I have another Canon. This is a more simple one. It's less expensive. It's more for outdoor use. And still, same idea. Take the battery out when you're not using it. Did I do that? Yes, I did. Good. Because it's still the same idea, even though they're not as expensive. They're still electronics, and I'm pretty sure this applies to all electronics. Trickle charge is just a concept that electronics tend to draw from the batteries even when they're not actively being used. So for all electronics, really, I suggest taking the batteries out if you're not using it. And the other thing that I learned that I really feel you should note, that you should see right there, that I popped up on the screen, is that storing the battery fully charged will actually lower the performance of the battery, and I assume that basically means like it'll reduce its capacity over time. I forgot about that, and now I don't regularly store my batteries charged. I always just, once I use them, I put them aside and then I go to recharge them before I go to use them. But yeah, it's just a really good thing to note, is don't think you're saving time and doing a good thing by charging your battery right after you've used it and then storing it. That actually reduces its ability to be used as long. So yeah, a couple FYIs for any fellow YouTubers out there, or anyone who has a camera and just likes to take photography or what have you. Even I have this really crappy Samsung that I use for stuff where I'm afraid I might drop the camera or something, damaging or whatever. Or if I have a really long recording and I'm afraid the battery for this one might run out, then I'll bring this one. And still take the battery out of even your old crappy ones, because it'll just make them last longer. And why not make it last longer, right? So anyways, I hope you found this useful. And if you have any tips on how to easily keep your camera in good maintenance, or any of your recording equipment, maybe for any other YouTubers, feel free to share that in the comments. We should all really help each other keep our stuff in good maintenance, because we know it's expensive. I know you guys know it's expensive. It's not, if only the equipment was cheaper, a lot of us could create a lot more. But in that sense, we should definitely try to keep it in lasting condition as much as we can and help each other out however we can. So I hope you found these tips helpful, and please do share in the comments if you have any tips for anyone else or for me. I really would appreciate it. And as always, please do join me again next week, where I try again to share a little something I've learned in life.